Hi everyone. Please let me know that you can. Hi everyone. Good morning. I am awfully late for this uh, stream, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just setting up a few things. And yeah, hi everyone. Hi Sankalp. Hi Anmol. Hi Omkar. I'm sorry for the delay. I was doing something and I was preparing for the stream only, but I thought I still had time because the last time I checked my watch, it was 10:48, and then when I checked it, it was 11:04. Uh, but hi everyone, it's so good to see all of you. Hi Devil, how are you? Anuj is here. See, I knew like there will be a few people who will turn up if I push the stream from 8 to 11, and Anuj is one of them. Hi Anuj. Hi, Gravitas. Hi, Nandan. Uh, so it's really nice to see all of you. So, आज के agenda like very basic. Uh, Initially, I was hoping to do the stream in the kitchen again, but then I am in that zone where do not, I don't want to dirty up my kitchen basically. I'm in that zone where I'm trying to disturb my surroundings in the least possible way so that I have the least possible uh, tidying up routines to follow. So today we're going to discuss the book for the month, which was um, The History of Love. And I will also be revealing the book for the next month. I'll just, let me check. I have to check if my phone is in silent, which is not. I'll just quickly set. Yeah. Hi. By a show of hands, how many of you finished reading the book for the month, which was The History of Love? I have so many new things that I had in my head that I would want to talk about, uh, from skincare to books to movies to a lot of other things. But I will primarily focus on books for now. But a lot of people are joining. I'll just say hi to everybody. Hi, Prem. Hi, Agamveer. Aditi is here. Hi, Aditi. How are you? They will love the ABAM. That's so good. So I finished reading the book this morning, and I could have finished reading it a lot of days ago, but I don't know why I kept the last few parts for today. And I'm still trying to process it. Unfortunately for me, when I finished reading the book, I went online to check and kind of um, see if the ending that I had assumed it was is the ending. And I realized there's a movie which I knew of, but then I was like, okay, it's time I see the trailer of sorts for the same. And needless to say, it's very disappointing. Also, there are two main protagonists of the book. One is Leo Gursky, who is a very old man, and the other is Alma Singer, who is a young teenager. And the book also, like in parts, um, talks about World War and how people went through it, because Leo Gursky is a survivor. Alma Singer is played by the girl who also was, I don't remember the name of the person, but the protagonist of The Book Thief. She's a lovely person, but needless to say, the movies she stars in that follow World War II are very disappointing. And the moment I saw her face in the trailer, I knew it is not going to be nice. And I'm still trying to revive myself from the pain that trailer has caused me. Also, fun fact, I mean, you must have seen Kitaabi Cabins. Instagram handle is becoming pretty active. A new member of the team, Charu, we have her to thank for this. She's doing some amazing job curating and editing content. But she was the person who sent me this list of people who've recommended The History of Love. And one of them is Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. And I don't know why, ever since I read that fact and I read the book, for some reason, I cannot help but imagine Shah Rukh Khan play Leo Gursky. And all of you who've read the book, please tell me if you see Leo Gursky in new light now. But yeah, that is what is happening. And I want to read a few parts to you because in the last few pages, I had, I was reading faster than I could read. And I was literally skipping a few words because I was so excited to reach the end. But I had to like hold my horses and bring myself again to read the whole page or the whole line that I might have missed. I kept on doing that to myself. But overall, the book is amazing. It kind of comes together towards the end of the book. And in the begin in somewhere in the middle of the book, I was kind of regretting how strongly I pitched this to everybody I met. But the final pages of the book kind of just brought everything together. And I cried in bits also. But when I finished reading the book, I had goosebumps. And there was this feeling of, okay, something has finally come together. So for all of you who are reading the book, hey, congratulations, you're in for a treat. For all of you who are not reading the book, please read the book. It's I think it's one of the few books that we've picked up for ABAM that actually stood out for me. And it was actually something that I honestly wouldn't mind picking up once again when I have a couple of days to spare. They will cry as well. I'm so glad. I mean, there were moments where I was taking a flight from point A to point B, and I was reading the book because why not? And I had tears. And I cried during the flight, and I was just worried about the person who was sitting next to me. I mean, I was really happy when I was going from point A to point B. I was very happy because the seats next to me were empty. However, when I was flying back, there was somebody sitting next to me, and I was just so afraid they'll see me cry that I just shut the book and I just let it sit there in my bag because, yeah, that's happened to me before, I think, once, but whatever. We're talking about the history of love right now. Hi, Shreyank, how are you? Hi, Swati. Audiobook versus physical books for beginner readers. What would you do if you had started over again from scratch? Um, I think I kind of uh, this happened. This happened to me when I was reading The Shoe Dog, and I was going through a reading slump. So I picked up the book, of course, the physical copy of the book, but I just couldn't go beyond a certain point. And that's when I kind of started listening to the audiobook and I started reading it together. And it kind of worked for me. So if that is something that you would like, that will be amazing. And that's that. The Time is a Mother is a good read. Yeah, it is. Just bought Shoe Dog yesterday. Excited to start. Nice. Chinmay, all the best. Hi, Siddharth. How are you? So, if anything happened recently, I just I was sitting down with somebody and they kept on recommending me books that I had read, and okay, the story can wait. It'll come together towards the end. But anyway, how's everyone? What books are you reading? Are there any new breakfast recipes that you've tried? Please let me know in the next stream. I'll definitely pick them up. I'll share the recipe that I have been trying recently. And I think I'll be making it immediately after the stream. So I used to, when I was a kid, I would love every time my mother would fast because then you would have this sagudana or sabudana, I'm not sure what it is, but you'll have its kheer. And I think the first thing that I ever genuinely tried to learn to cook was um, sabudana ki kheer and bhindi because I honestly loved it. And wherever I went, nothing tasted like the ones that my mother made at home. So recently, I came across this recipe. I mean, I always knew there exists a sort of poha equivalent of sagudana. I'm not sure what exactly is the correct pronunciation. Um, but yes, that happened. Okay. And I tried making it a few days ago. To my horror, I did not get the amount of the quantity of oil right. So it turned out pretty bad. But when the I had drained it off of the oil, it was palpable. And I think it's one of the discoveries that I really like. Also, I mean, I've begun to understand the value of peanuts in food, but I still am not able to appreciate them. Sabudana. Yes. There was this guy. So I'll tell you why I never thought it's Sabu and it's Sagu, because Sabu was also something related to Sabu was in Chacha Chaudhary, right? His partner in crime, the guy who was very strong, was called Sabu, right? Or did I get it wrong? I'm sorry. So, before we go any further, and I will rest my thoughts right now, but I wanted to share some things that I really liked from this book. So this is what my how do I share it with you? I was very much relaxed. We'll have to do something about. Oh, I was going to say we have to do something about my mic, and I forgot I have a mic stand here. Talk about absent-minded people. Sorry, I'll just fix it. Yeah, this works. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure. But anyway, no, it doesn't work. Give me 1 second, and I apologies for all your ears. There it be. So I'm just going to place it here. So this is how the last page of my book looks like. Let me see. Yeah. Can you guys see it? So these are the pages that I really loved, or the pages that really moved me. I have a habit of doing this to most of the books that I read. I write down page numbers, or chapters that I absolutely love. And I also uh, wrote a note to self. This was for the ABM discussion, but a lot of you had not read the book, so I'm very angry. But I'm not going to show it. There's this line on page number 55, and I wrote this note to myself that I'll remember this to kind of review this book. This is how this book made me feel. It moved me in a way one hopes to be moved each time he begins a book. And oh God, it was so true, because the moment I started reading it, it starts with something that I've already read. It's when they write my obituary tomorrow or the next day, it will say, Leo Gursky is survived by an apartment full of shit. I am surprised I haven't been buried alive. Anyway, but the very fact that somebody will remember him by saying Leo Gursky is survived by an apartment full of shit, kind of just the humor was something I related to so much that I absolutely fell in love with the book. I fell out a couple of times, but I always came back because I wanted to know what happens eventually. That's Sabu. When he's angry, a volcano erupts in Jupiter. Yes. But Chacha Chaudhary solved crimes and didn't do crimes. Hey, did I say he did crimes? I'm so sorry. Uh, I'm reading Ask Me About My Uterus by Abby Norman. Ooh, this sounds amazing. This sounds like a good book. This sounds like a book I would want to read. After watching Oppenheimer 2 times consecutively, 2 times, I was in awe. So I bought the adapted book, American Prometheus. It's awesome too. Oh yeah, I've been planning to read it for a while, but I'm still trying to finish the books I haven't by. But coming back to the book, that's how I would describe it. it moves you in a way that you would want to be every time you pick up a book. And one of my favorite chapters is, wait, somebody is calling me. I'm not sure who it is. Wait. It has to be somebody who probably didn't know I was be streaming, but I made it a point to message everyone possible that I am streaming. But yeah, there's this chapter called My Life Underwater in the book. And so the funny thing is, there are two characters. The story goes parallelly, and some of the chapters deal with Leo Gursky, the others deal with Alma Singer. Then there are a couple more with perspectives from other people. But the thing is, you will recognize every time the chapter changes the way Leo Gursky describes his life versus how Alma Singer writes it. She makes it a point to give heading to every possible thing that has happened to him. It's my sibling who's calling. I told him 10 times I'll be streaming, but okay. Anyway, this chapter is called The Longing That Exists Between Species. And I absolutely love it. And I loved it. It says, after Uncle Julian left, who is her mother's brother, my mother became more withdrawn, or maybe a better word would be obscure, as in faint, unclear, distant. Empty teacups gathered around her, and dictionary pages fell at her feet. She abandoned the garden, and the mums and asters that had trusted her to see them through to the first frost hung their waterlogged heads. Letters came from her publishers asking if she'd be interested in translating this or that book. These went unanswered. The only phone calls she accepted were from Uncle Julian, and whenever she spoke to him, she closed the door. Every year, the memories I have of my father become more faint, unclear, and distant. And I think, this is why I actually hearted this page, because of this paragraph that will follow. Every year, the memories I have of my father become more faint, unclear, and distant. Once they were vivid and true, then they became like photographs, and now they are more like photographs of photographs. But sometimes, at rare moments, a memory of him will return to me with such suddenness and clarity that all the feeling I've pushed down for years springs out like a jack in the box. At these moments, I wonder if this is the way it feels to be my mother. And for those of you who've read it, you'll understand why this particular paragraph is so important, because and for those of you who have not read it and are still out and are still watching the stream, I'm just going to give you the spoiler. This is a moment, I think, where she first realizes how her mother feels about the death of her father. And that's mostly that. Let's feed the algorithm. Oh, yes, guys, do like the stream and comment. Diljit always reminds me of the stuff that's right to do. One of them being, please like the stream and comment on the stream so that, it gets recommended in the algorithm. Um, Somebody say, oh, thank you, Prashant. I am currently reading a lot of Ted Chiang currently. Yes. Oh, wow. This is nice. I've read a couple of, so I have Exhalation. No, I have the book Exhalation. And I am not into sci-fi. I mean, I don't enjoy sci-fi so much, but I've read a couple of stories from Exhalation In and Out, and I was surprised by how much I loved it. But I think it's time to go back because I've forgotten how much I loved it. Anuj, that part hit me so hard. Yes, I'll also perhaps like I'll be a crybaby, and I'll also tell you the parts that made me cry. Um, Currently reading Conversations on Love. That's on my list. Priyanshi, please let me know how you like it. There is a saying by Richard Feynman, to every man is given the key to the gates of heaven. The same key opens the gates. I love how Alma made lists for everything. I do that too. They will has written that. So our character Alma Singer made lists for everything. I don't know how many of you who've read the book related to Alma Singer. I absolutely fell in love with her because she reminded me of so much I was when I was growing up. I would make lists of every possible thing. B, I would read every possible thing I could find on survival in the uh, wilderness. I suck at directions, but you leave me in a forest and I'll find my way back. And perhaps that's the only thing I've learned from my father. But there were quite a few things that were about her that were so innocent. And the way she dealt with the grief of having lost a father was so different from the people in her family. That doesn't make her stand out, but you understand how grief comes in different parts. The way her mother dealt with her husband's death, the way she dealt with her father's death, the way her sibling dealt with their father's death, everything was different. And I know not a very it's not a main theme of the book, but you'll realize how some of us will turn to religion, some of us will turn to the hobbies of the people who've left us behind, and some of us will turn to work so that we don't have to talk about this. And that was one of the things that I know is not the central theme of the book, but I couldn't help but notice this. And then you see the grief of other people around the main characters, and you realize it's just so wonderfully done in the book by Nicole Cross. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm the name that I got it right. Hi Shagun, how are you? I read Pachinko recently. Yeah, Pachinko is amazing. I think it was one of the first uh, books that I'd read about Japanese, Korean culture, if I can say, or perhaps history. But yeah, currently reading All About Love by Bell Hooks. Oh, I've heard a lot of this by from Namita Dubey, of course. And I think somebody else is also reading All About Love. Somebody I know on Instagram, I just can't remember who, but somebody keeps on posting up snippets from the book. Oh, after reading this book, I want to read History of Love by Leo Gursky. God, every time somebody says Leo Gursky, only like the image of Shah Rukh Khan comes to mind. And that's only because he recommended the book as well. And the day I got to know of this, I couldn't help but go back and imagine Leo Gursky the way I thought he'd be when I initially started reading the book. But yes, currently I'm reading a lot of Ted Chiang. Okay, yeah, nice. So one of the other things that I want to talk about while we're here, actually, I should access a live YouTube. Why am I like this? Also, I just was accessing the wow. Also, I was just accessing the real stream that's happening on YouTube because I thought it'll be easier for me to kind of view the likes and everything. And I realized the thumbnail of the stream. And fun fact, I initially started using images that I have of myself in landscape because I thought it'll be less work for me. And also, it'll just be for the team as well to prepare a thumbnail for every stream, but also because it'll just be very candid and mostly it'll be ugly photographs of myself that will allow me to be more of myself. And now that when I go back sometimes, and especially the thumbnail that we have for this stream, I I don't know, I just feel like I have to apologize to people. But yes, I just finished The Train Was on Time by Henrik Boyle last night. It's about a German soldier's train journey to join the war and how he's convinced that he's going to die. Ah. Wow. There's something about the books that are written from World War that are beautiful. And one of the many reasons why I loved The History of Love was also because how it addresses Antoine Saint-Exupéry, however you'd like to pronounce, the author of Little Prince, time and again. One of the reasons why I used to read a lot of Roald Dahl when I was growing up was because a lot of people came back from war and wrote books on war, fictional accounts, non-fictional accounts. And then you have a few authors like Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I think obviously Ernest Hemingway and Roald Dahl, who came back and they wrote books, and it's their way of dealing with what's lost. And I think that's really nice. I shouldn't have shrugged, but okay. Anyway, I'm going to drop a hint for the book that we're going to pick up for the next month. I know the book club people are going to be very happy. The book club that we have on WhatsApp for the members of the people who are gladiators and godfathers, and who are members now of the book club on WhatsApp. Now, I know these people are going to be very happy because I think they almost, please, and I hope nobody gives out the name. If you've already guessed the name, please don't give it out. Book club people. But I almost felt like they were pushing me in a corner so that I can pick up the book, because there were messages of 10 different people begging and kind of adding a +1 to each other, like, please pick up this book, we have got to read this book. And then I was like, okay, let me just do it this time. So I have no idea what the book is about except for a few things, and I hope nobody guesses it in the comments. You're free to comment in the book club and guess the book. And I will also, like, I'm just going to open my chat also in the book club so that you guys can take a wild guess, and I'll reply to everybody who comments in the book club. So the chat is open in this corner, and yeah, you can guess it in the book club. Vishwesh also guessed it in the book club. Okay, yeah, I'm so glad. Like, okay, yeah, but yes, I felt threatened, but I was like, okay, let me just give it this one time. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And now I'm so afraid that there are a few people who are going to this is going to become a regular thing, and I don't mind it, actually. I mean, I'm all in for it. But yes, that's really nice. Also, in other news, I saw Oppenheimer, and while there are particular things that I did not like about the film, of course, but it's a book that but it's a movie that I really would like to read as a book, and somebody mentioned that they've started reading it. So I'm sorry, I can't remember whose comment it was, but please let us know how the book is, and perhaps we can pick that up to be one of the books for the coming ABAMs. And yes, I like how everyone is happy. I mean, I'm guessing people are happy in the book club. There is a comment by Samhita, really, ? In the book club, and it's yeah. Lobbying works. Yes, Diljit, lobbying works. The dictator the dictator just realized, like, democracy from time to time is good for health, and yeah, it keeps the anarchy alive. ABAM reveal hint: people force the dictator to pick. When are you doing the reel on skincare? Oh my god, I was actually thinking I'll do a skincare stuff in the stream, but I wasn't sure how many people are up for it. If you're looking for skincare related content, just post an emoji in the chat. I'll just quickly see what emoji we can use. Just post I don't know, prayer emoji in the chat, perhaps. I'm just seeing the most recent emojis that I've used. And yeah, one of them is the prayer emoji. I use it a lot. So yes. Hint emojis. A little democracy, yeah. My skin isn't great for me to be able to do a reel on skincare and to become the to try and be one true holy voice on skincare. I recently have the acne have taken a strong U-turn and come back on my face. But yes, that's that. Also, yeah. Also recently, okay, I'm bullied. Okay, I'm still lost in the comments. I'm really sorry. But Yeah, do like the stream, guys. The more you like the stream, the more you comment in the chat, the more it gets recommended to people. Somebody had said how to get straight hair naturally. I don't know. I mean, there was a time where I really tried to get a lot of straight hair. And I think for the longest time of my life, I had s- sort of straight hair. Then I kind of went ahead and colored them a lot. Now I have wavy hair, which I absolutely cannot uh, hate. So Pokraj is here. You know what, Pokraj? I was thinking of you when I started the stream. Straight hair is overrated. True, absolutely true. But I don't know what I was watching yesterday, but I was watching a couple of. Okay, I think I was watching certain interview of Ryan Gosling, and there was this comment by Pokraj. And I was like, oh my God, Pokraj is everywhere. I've almost forgotten the days where I used to find Pokraj as the top commenter on every person's videos. So it was great to see you there, Pokraj. Uh, Flamingo has, I don't know what this emoji is, to be very honest. Pokraj, you're everywhere. Yes, literally. But I want to read out this. I'm just going to find the page that I'm going to pick up. I don't know why. Um, there was another page. There was another line that I really liked, and I think this is one of the reasons why I stopped reading it. I was about to finish the book that very day in the next 1 hour or so, and I stopped reading after this chapter because of this one line that comes at a certain point in this chapter, and I was like, okay, this is it. I know I can finish it in an hour. I'll finish it the day I'm about to stream it, and this is what it says. There are two types of people in this world: those who prefer to be sad among others, and those who prefer to be sad alone. And it comes at a time where we're talking about this person who survived the Holocaust. I don't know if he was ever there, but he lost a lot of friends and family. Oh, no, he was never there. He was never part of it. He lost a lot of people. Uh, he lost his entire family to the Holocaust. And when the war comes to an end, he realizes what has happened to his life. And he functions pretty well. He leaves his house, he does his daily job, etc., etc. And he almost manages to act very natural, except for the time when he reaches home and it's cold, and everything that he's felt during the day just moves away because he comes back to a home that's cold and he realizes everything that he's lost. And we've read Mouse and ABM before, and all of us kind of discussed World War II at length there, and we discussed Holocaust as well. And we recently saw a couple of movies that were built around Holocaust and World War as well. But the way Nicole Cross talks about these people who've managed to survive and get out of and escape the Holocaust, the way she talks about them and how they feel, I think those were the moments that made me. There were times where I got emotional, but there were times where I literally cried. And most of it was how Nicole Cross talks about the survival of these people, how some of them literally feel the guilt for having escaped because a lot of the people that they knew of, their family members could not escape the same. And that's one thing. Is there a pink crocodile in the emojis, by the way? Uh, Pokraj's comment sections, Ranveer Singh. Ah, nice. But that's one. Okay, we're discussing democracy and elections in the book club now. I haven't seen the show Flamingo. I'm sorry. Uh, I wow. And I do not want to make this a stream about the TV shows and movies we've seen, so I'm going to refrain from the topic. But we are going to have this discussion on 1st of August on Chalchitra Talks. Um, it's going to be July, the best of July stream. Hindol will be there, Disha will be there, Vaibhav is going to be there. And we're going to talk about the stuff that we saw, read, and stuff that really changed us for better or for worse. And this is Kitaabi Cabin. So I'm going to refrain from talking about movies and TV shows. But yes, guys, do like the stream. And also, just a quick, I want to take this moment. Um, so if you follow us on Instagram, you must have seen our latest post. Um, a few years ago, we filmed Records from the Hills, and a lot of you might know of this series. It came on Chalchitra Talks. Basically, Vinayak and I packed up bags. We went to this place where I grew up in when I was probably 6 and 7 years of age, and we just sat at locations that we found interesting and recommended stuff from there. Earlier this month, which is like July, and like there was a lot of heavy monsoon rainfall in various parts of Himachal, and a lot of places that are very close to me are very close to the entire team of Chalchitra because of various reasons. Uh, were ruined in the aftermath of this heavy rainfall. And the place that where we filmed Echoes from the Hills, a lot of houses were swept away because of, I think, a cloudburst, but also because of the heavy flooding. And obviously, if anybody's worried, my family is safe. A lot of friends that I know are safe, but we still continue to hear some disturbing news from, especially the rural parts of Himachal, where people have lost their housing, people have lost their family members, they have lost their livelihoods. The crop is all gone, and basically, some of them do not have proper sanitized conditions to live in. And so we posted this post on the Instagram account where there's this fund that's being run by the government of Himachal. The link for the same is in the description below. And if you have the time, energy, and resources, please consider supporting it. It will mean a lot to me and Chalchitra, the entire team of Chalchitra, but I'm pretty certain it will help change the lives of people who've lost almost everything and have faced a huge setback because of the floods. So please consider supporting it. It would be amazing, basically. So that's that. And yeah, I hope we can go back to the place where we shot Records from the Hills. And I hope it gets restored soon. It's a beautiful place, and the people were very kind and loving and really helped us in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's that one thing. So for those of you still watching, do consider supporting. But I will now proceed to read this. For those of you who read the book for the month, which is The History of Love, what were your favorite bits about the book? I will start with mine. I really loved how a protagonist, and there's no spoiler here because it happens in the first few pages itself. So if you're somebody who's wondering if you should read it, please pick it up. I sometimes feel there are some books that make me feel bad for people who kind of look down upon fiction. One of them was The History of Love. I recommended it to a few people, and some of them just passed it off because it is a fiction book. And I felt bad in that moment because I realized they won't necessarily ever feel the way this book made me feel, or this book made the a number of people who've read it otherwise. But anyway, one of my favorite parts was how Leo Gursky, he's got no one in the world. And there's this thing about the end also about his real good friend Bruno. They will might know it, and the people who otherwise read it might know it. it brought me to tears for some reason. But anyway, Leo Gursky has nobody in this world. He's lost the love of his life. He's lost his family. And I have chills right now inside of me when I think of Bruno and Leo Gursky because they were like best of friends. Um, but anyway, I'm not going to talk about that because that will be a big spoiler. But about Leo Gursky, he walks around and navigates life as if it's his last day. And that doesn't mean he's doing everything that he wants to do, etc., etc. He just wants to not die on a day where he was not seen. And oh, it's now that I think about it and I'm processing how everything comes together, I have so many thoughts that I want to share. I'll actually start giving you spoilers if you don't finish it in a couple of days, guys. But anyways, he signs up for random things. He goes to a shoe store. He'll go to a shoe store. He'll be like, "Oh, I want that in that size." He'll ask for the most ridiculous shoe because he just wants the salesman to remember him in case he passes away that very night. And that's something that's so beautiful about this book and the character Leo Gursky. Alma and his brother's relationship, how she tried to find the love for her mom, and the end. OMG, the end. Ooh. I mean, ah. See, when I was reading the book, I had a few problems. Why is this happening at this rate? Why is this happening? Why can't this be this way? Like, this is so infuriating. And then you read the end, and it's almost like the book rewards you for reaching that part. Sometimes I just leave books because I can't sit through them because it's so frustrating. And I think it's also got something to do with me getting older and me having so many things to do. I'm lacking in patience all the time. And when I read the end for this book, I realized I went through it because it was an ABA. What if I'd gotten frustrated and also because they will said in the book club, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And she read it like, I think she was one of the first few people to finish reading it. And I was like, okay, they all loved it. So there's got to be something. So there were two prime reasons why I pushed through. And I felt almost shitty because I thought, what if there are books that I've almost stopped finishing and I've tossed them aside only to now realize that perhaps everything comes together at the end. So that was that. But yeah, so I'm just going to find one last page before I move to the book for the next month. And okay, I'm going to read out this particular part for you. And okay. So this is going to be a spoiler. And if you're planning to read it, please leave. And then come back, maybe. We still need the views. I'm just kidding. I crack silly jokes and then I laugh at them myself, by myself. But anyway, Leo Gursky loses his son. It's on page number 79, so you haven't missed a lot. I mean, it's not even half of the book yet, so I don't think it's a spoiler. Anyway, oh god, now that I'm rereading it, I'm rereading a page where Bruno slids a piece of paper under the door to Leo Gursky and he says life is beautiful, to be very honest. And this is where Leo has just lost his son, and he's reading about it and he's coming to terms with it. And Bruno slides this piece of paper under the door. Life is beautiful. He doesn't know how to spell. He spells it at Butiful. And I pushed it back out. He pushed it back in. I pushed it out. He pushed it in, out, in, out, in. I stared at it. Life is beautiful. I thought, perhaps it is. Perhaps that is the word for life. I heard Bruno breathing on the other side of the door, and I found a pencil. I scrawled, and a joke forever. I pushed it back under the door, a pause while he read it. Then, satisfied, he made his way up the stairs. It's possible. I cried. What's the difference? Anyway, a few lines later, Leo Gursky talks about what I think is how he processed the death of his son. It was Friday, and I knew I shouldn't stay in, so I made myself go out. The air felt different in my lungs, and the world no longer looked the same. You change, and then you change again. You become a dog, a bird, a plant that leans always to the left. Always now that my son was gone, did I realize how much I had been living for him. When I woke up in the morning, it was because he existed. And when I ordered food, it was because he existed. And when I wrote my book, it was because he existed to read it. And a few lines later, he comes across this photograph and he says, I sat so still, I was hardly breathing. And this line is funny because recently we moved houses back home, and I came across a few photographs that my mother has saved from when she was growing up. So there are photographs of my grandparents, my great grandparents, and their parents, and everyone sits so stiffly in the chair. And it's almost funny. And when I look at photographs of my paternal grandparents and I talk to my father about it, he says, you never thought you'll have a second chance. And this is something I've heard from a lot of people. You never thought there'll be a second photograph again. So you're trying to give your most sincere uh, look into the camera, which is so beautiful. And when I read this line that I sat so still, could almost, I almost wasn't breathing. I remember this photograph that I found of my great grandfather, my mother's grandfather, and he was a photographer. And I think he's the first guy. And I realized this when I loved the photographs that he's clicked of himself. And for some reason, I used to find them so warm and so different from the other ones that I'd seen. And this book made me realize why in this particular line, because he's waving in some of them. And in some, he's just smiling and he's being all goofy. And I realized I've never seen a grandparent do that. And I think there were a few things that I thought about my grandparents when I read this book that makes this book so special. But, anyways, I'm going to quit boring you. And I'll move to reveal the book that's. I'll just reveal it in a while after I finish Diljit. I will always take move houses literally, and it will always be a funny expression to me. But like people literally move their whole houses, the entire structure. So it's not funny anymore, perhaps. Arunika is reading Homegoing. Himanshu is saying Hindi. I'm not sure in what context, but that's that. So without wasting further time, I am going to I'm just going to quickly read this comment that came up in the book club. You know what, this is what we should do every time we stream. We should have a separate discussion happening in the book club, and we should have a separate discussion over here, because some of the I just know, no, it's like an inside joke which is now being accessible to people via stream. So I don't know. That being said, this is what Diljit has written. I don't mind the dictatorship at all. Sub dictator VM जैसे हो, making good reading decisions for the जनता, the world में सब सही. मैंने कहा thanks दिलजीत, मैंने कभी घमंड नहीं किया. But yeah, there was a show where people, yeah, true. I've seen that show. I remember. Do you remember the name of the show, Catchin' Me? Because I remember when I was a kid, I saw this show, but I just don't remember what it was. Anyway, I'm going to come for the book of the month for April. No, this is, sorry, August. August. Hi, Vaani. Krishnendu is here. I'm reading Curious Incident of a Dog, and I thought it would be just a goofy read, but it's funny and sad also. It's a beautiful book, and there are so many things that I made a list about that book once. The things that I really liked about it, and it's beautiful. Sarfaraz, hi Vani, just finished reading The Three Body Problem. Did you read all the three or just the one? I loved the book. Hey, thank you, Sarfaraz. Anyway, okay. How do I? The back cover of this book says, "This is one hell of a story, and it's just not hers to tell." Athena Leo is a literary darling, and June Hayward is a literally nobody. White lies. When Athena dies in a freak accident, June steals her unpublished manuscript and publishes it as her own under the ambiguous name Juniper Song. Dark humor. But as evidence threatens June's stolen success, she discovers exactly how far she will go to keep what she thinks she deserves. But then you have deadly consequences. What happens next is entirely everyone else's fault. And the book is Yellow Face by Rebecca F. Kwong. It's a very interesting cover, by the way. And I think that's one of the reasons why I accepted how people pushed me to pick this book up for the book a month, for the people, for the honorary members of the Chalchitra Book Club. And it's available exclusively in the Indian subcontinent. But anyway, this is going to be the book for the month of August. And I think it will be a quick read. And one of the really good things that I liked about the book was there were no reviews on the cover or on the back side. So this is the book for the month of August. And I hope everyone is happy that I picked it up. If you've already read Yellow Face, please put in your reviews. And if anybody from the team is watching, please comment, share a link for the let me know what you think of it in the comments below. And well, this is the book for the month. And yeah, I'll be sharing the links in the description below. And consider reading it up. And if you've already read it, please share your reviews with us. And it will probably keep us motivated to pick up the book and never drop it until we finish it. But it was great streaming with you guys. I'll see you again, perhaps next week or the week after, but on a Sunday morning, and probably next weekend. No, then the week after, we'll probably cook something really interesting. So do message me what you'd like to see being cooked in the kitchen. And it was amazing. And if you haven't read The History of Love so far, please pick it up. It's a beautiful book, and you won't regret a single, at least this recommendation that I've made. And I'll see you guys again super soon. Have a good day, and do remember to join us on the first August stream on Chalchitra Talks. It's the best of July, and we'll be talking about the books we've read so far. Yeah. Bye-bye.